and welcome back to another episode of Otter Players Podcast, episode 21, where we've had an amazing week delivered to us by Nintendo with some amazing announcements, as well as Capcom letting us know where they really want to show the love everywhere but Xbox. But we're going to talk about it, we're going to get into it, and first and foremost, let's get into our intros and jump right into these topics. Morgan, how are you and what have you been playing this week? Absolutely. I mean, it's good to have that single game focus and really push through that title that we've been enjoying. So I definitely agree with you. That's an amazing one to go ahead and get through and get that platinum. And obviously, I'm right there with you. Um, Weeb, how are you this week, man? What have you been playing? Absolutely. No, yeah, those are some amazing choices you got up next with Unicorn Overlord or Uden Chronicles. Honestly, you can't really go wrong with either. Unicorn Overlord was honestly a heavy contender for my game of the year, and it's still one of my favorite games this year by far. So I can't wait for you to get into that and see what you end up thinking. So yeah, Omar, how are you, man? And what have you been playing, Mister Play Everything? Congrats. Yeah, that's something I'll have to take a look at. Uh, I have been a fan of what they've been playing, so or what they've been making rather. That's what's up. I mean, what you clearly got a lot to play. You're getting through it all. That's the important part. Not only playing these games, but finishing these games, which yeah, which doesn't seem to be a popular thing on gaming Twitter these days. A lot of people excited about games and not really completing or playing these games. So, but yeah, yeah, that's always a fun point of contention. Even though really everybody should ultimately be playing these games because that's what it's really all about at the end of the day. But jumping right into our first topic, of course, like I said, we've had an incredible week with Nintendo having their direct. We're gonna get the impressions from the panel, see what everybody really thought about it. They gave us a solid, packed 40 minutes of nothing but announcements. Definitely some surprises, and just kind of see what everybody's thoughts are about it before we, get into who won, not E3. So, I definitely know someone in this panel who said it was amazing, but I'm going to give it to someone I know who's been looking forward to Metroid for a long time, and I want to go to Weeb. Uh, First, what did you think of the show, sir? Absolutely. Right? Mm-hmm. Nice, nice, definitely. So if you had to, if you got it up front in your mind right now and you had to slap a score on it, what would you give it? But if you don't, I can come back to you. Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, everything that look, we have to get our hands on the game, but everything so far is showing that this is going to be an absolutely fantastic game. Like I think that like to be honest, like Metroid Prime peaked with the first game because that was a perfect Metroid game, and after that they sort of tried experimenting a bit more with like two was more with this sort of gameplay gimmick where you had sort of this dark and light uh, uh, gameplay part of the world, and like the third one was sort of their attempt to make Metroid more like a Halo game, I guess, sort of make it more cinematic. Um, but I think they're sort of taking everything they've learned from the previous games and just trying to make yeah the best possible iteration they can. I like look. I'm all for like you don't have to sell a Metroid game at all to me, and if you're gonna come with a Metroid Prime game, definitely day one, right? I don't need to wait for the reviews. If you have a collector's edition, I'm gonna get the collector's edition because that's just gonna be a day one for me. So yeah, I'm really excited for it now that they've actually shown it, and you know basically gave us proof of life, right? Because that was the major concern for any of us. Like, is it actually still going to happen, or are they going to give us, the going to pull a naughty dog and tell us, yeah, we cancel it because we couldn't make it happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely glad that we finally get to see it, and that they basically just said, yeah, it's coming out next year. Like not just it's coming, like not pulling an Xbox where they say, "Hey, here, look at this gameplay, and it's coming when it's ready." No, it's coming next year, so we know this is what we're gonna get, and I'm
Um,
yeah, couldn't be more excited.
you thinking it's gonna be the next Nintendo console, launch game?
It well, it could be, but I'd say I think that's more to do with the launch window of the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called. I'd say I think I mean I don't think there's any doubt that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. Um, uh, Even if it weren't, like it would be sort of similar to they had with like I think even Breath of the Wild wasn't Breath of the Wild also launched on the Wii U? I think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was
It
long.
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
on Ocean as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So that's regardless, it's coming to the Switch. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have zero doubt that it's going to be backwards compatible anyway. So but um, yeah, it would make sense that they're going to drop that in that launch window so that they have some new games that might be able to take advantage of the new hardware. Um, so yeah, I certainly see that as a possibility. I think that's also, yeah, I mean, part of the reason why they didn't give an exact date because they probably also want to keep under wraps when the Switch 2 drops.
Yeah,
So yeah.
they're definitely trying to keep that under wraps.
Mhm.
Um, no, it sounds like you really enjoyed it. Like I said, I did as well, so I definitely get where you're coming from. I think they did a good job having something for everyone, and it makes me more confident in the brothership announcement. Seeing that you said you thought it was better than the Paper Mario, because I actually skipped that one. I picked up Mario RPG myself, and then this one looked really good. So this was probably the next thing I was thinking about picking up from them, which annoys me for the record because I told myself I was done purchasing Nintendo Switch products until the Switch 2 or the Super Nintendo Switch, whatever they're going to call it. And Nintendo stay getting me to spend just a little bit more
Yep.
money, man, every time.
Damn them.
Exactly, like always killing me.
They always find a way to reel you back in, eh?
Yeah, they always get me, man. It just never fails. Um, but
Damn them for
yeah,
releasing games I want to play.
right. How dare they? But yeah, next up, I want to go to Morgan because Morgan, again, I know you don't particularly play Switch, but I know that doesn't matter in this case because a lot of what was shown is coming to PlayStation 5, which you definitely play. So, what were some interesting things that you saw, and how did you feel overall about the show?
Yeah. Like Anae said, like when it comes to Switch, I don't own a Switch. The Switch is cool, Nintendo's cool, but there's really not enough exclusives for me to invest in the Switch. Um, but I like to watch the Nintendo Directs because yeah, they're multi-plats, but I just like to see games and see people talk about games and see people's excitement when it comes to game announcements. So I always like watching Nintendo Directs. Nintendo will always have a special place in my heart. It was the first console that I ever played was a Nintendo 64, um, with Mario Kart being my first game. So I always have some love for Nintendo. Um, but
Absolutely.
yeah, watch the direct. I was half asleep watching it, because they like to blast that shit early in the fucking morning. I'm like, oh
Absolutely.
my god. I'm still getting the crust out of my eyes while I'm trying to, watch and enjoy, the games that are being shown. But
We were definitely running
yeah,
on
they
no
had some good
sleep.
showings though. Yeah, they had some good showings though. The Marvel versus Capcom that looked cool. Like I remember Marvel versus Capcom. Like that was one of them games that you had to get the whole family over, and there used to be tournaments with that. that they used
Absolutely.
to that shit used to cause so many arguments. Uh, uh, so that was nice to see them bring that back. That would definitely be a game that would probably get me to invest in the next Nintendo platform, whether it's Switch 2 or whatever it is. But yeah, I like seeing that announcement. Dragon Quest, the remake for 3, 1, and 2, with 3 coming out in September, I believe, or sometime this year.
Yeah, sometime in the
That
fall.
looked really good. Yeah, that looked really good to me. If you know me, I'm all about my pixel art games, especially with JRPGs, and if it's turn based, sign me up. That's like my favorite type of shit. So it looked really good. Um, Curious to see what the reason why there's going to be a quality and a performance mode on this game. I would have assumed like just like Octopath and Persona and all these other games, it's just like one mode, but for whatever reason there are two, which I'm very curious as to why. But yeah, I know some people were confused about why they would release 3 first, but I guess according to the director, that's chronologically the correct way. I guess like 3 is maybe like a prequel or something. I've never played Dragon Quest, but
Yeah.
that's what supposedly what the director said. Play 3 and then 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm in the same boat with you. I
so
never played this far back in the Dragon Quest series, so we'll be
yeah.
experiencing that for the first time together.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it out. I've looked at the tweets and read some things about it, how it has the different angles when you're fighting and stuff. So that'll be something different for me to try. It looks good, so I plan on getting it. Don't know if I'll be playing it. Fall is so busy this year. All the games that are dropping. I don't know if I'll be playing it day one, but I'll definitely be playing it,
At some point.
sometime this year. Yeah.
No, I definitely get
But
that.
yeah, that looked good. Also, um, what is it? The Ace Attorney collection. I really want to get into it because I've heard some really good things about the game, and I think you played Ace Attorney, right? Um, and I really want to get into it because it looks like something that'd be up my alley.
Yeah,
Um,
the yeah, I guess you could call the prequels, where you sort of the historical version of Ace Attorney. Yeah, I played those.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Is it like you think it would be something I would like? Because I haven't seen many videos on it, but it looks like something that I would probably be interested in.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fun. Yeah, it's basically a typical like classic adventure game where you have to investigate stuff and talk to people. But yeah,
I love that type of shit.
yeah, and there's a lot of humor in it, like a lot of creative ways there. Yeah, with at least the games I've played with how they I have sort of have to solve cases and stuff. So that I think it's going to be up your alley.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean I like games like I don't know if you've ever played the Rockstar game LA Noire, um, where you're basically a detective and you got to kind of
Yeah,
solve stuff. I know it's probably not directly like that, but I love games where you have to kind of like solve the crime and you know, put the clues together and figure out what's going on. Like that's
yeah.
that's definitely
And that's gonna be right up your alley.
yes, that's games I like. So I was like, okay, cool. They're releasing a full collection. Yeah, I'll definitely take
Yeah,
that.
apparently that's digital only. There's no physical for the PlayStation card.
Yeah,
Only
yeah, I saw that it was only for Nintendo that had physical. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, that looked like another game that I will like, and I think that is also coming out this year in the fall. Oh, so many fucking games, man. It's so ridiculous. I shouldn't even watch because I already knew it was gonna be like at least 2 or 3 games I would see there that I would like. And of course, we got another look at to everybody's surprise, we got another look at Horizon Lego uh at the direct. Yeah, PlayStation's really trying to sell it to the Nintendo fan base. It'll be curious to see how well it does on the Switch.
Yeah, it was a short
But
showing, but it
yeah,
was it was a good looking trailer, so I don't blame them.
yeah, yeah. And then we saw, funny enough, we saw Stray there. Stray's getting a Switch version. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Great
Yeah,
game, great game.
I definitely didn't see that
Hopefully,
coming.
yeah. So hopefully, the Nintendo people, if they haven't played it on any other system, hopefully they try it out. Stray's a fantastic game if you haven't played it, and if you're looking to play it on their Switch, I highly recommend it. I think almost everybody in here platted it, and we all loved it. So it's a really great game. Um, Trying to think what else stood out for me. Talked about the Capcom, Ace
What about
Attorney.
the Romance Saga 2 uh, that they showed?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah, that looked good too. Another another little JRPG where I'm just gonna be.
You didn't see it
I think
coming.
is that coming out? Is that coming out this year? I can't not
Yes,
keep up with all these
that is
dates.
coming out
you
this
play
year.
the first
Uh,
one.
I haven't. So yeah, another game to put onto the backlog of games that need to be played. Like it's honestly getting ridiculous.
And it's
Yeah,
coming out
it's
in
too many
October.
games. Yeah,
Oh God, right next to
Yep.
Metaphor.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, it's just yeah, it wasn't great, but even though everything wasn't for me, I like the Mario and Luigi game look cool. Um,
Yeah, I thought
it
I
looked
did.
good.
I've never seen that before, so that was a surprise to me.
Yeah, that looked like a fun game. So, um, but yeah, overall, I think it was a really great showing. Like I said, everything wasn't for me, but regardless, Nintendo always, whether you are a Nintendo player or not, one thing Nintendo is going to do is definitely going to cater to their fans, and they give their fans a wide variety of games to play, and it's always games that are, either out or coming out really soon or like in a like a 6 to 8 month window, right? So I think Nintendo does really well on giving their fan base a good variety of games to play. Um, so yeah, I'd score that like that was like an 8, you know, for me.
Okay.
A good showing, a good showing. Like they did a good job. Like I can't complain. Like again, like I said, I don't have a Switch, but just because I don't have a Switch doesn't mean I can be like, oh, it was a 3 because they're for me. Like you got to give kudos to publishers when they show some good games, and the games look good regardless of whether I wanted to play them or not.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, then they ended up with the long awaited Metroid Prime 4, which I know I like, I know Weeb's a fan. I know a lot of people that have been waiting for that game, and for them to finally get that announcement, that was big. And the whole Capcom versus Marvel was another huge announcement that everybody was really excited for. So they had some surprises in there, which was something that was kind of lacking in the Xbox showcase. The Xbox showcase was good, like that. Like I'm not even gonna try to sit here and like shit on it. It was a good showing. It's just everything that they showed, it was like it was expected because it was the stuff that they announced back in 2020, and we were finally getting updates on it. But we
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of surprises in the Nintendo showcase, and I think that they did really well on that. So yeah, great job, Nintendo. Now we just everybody came out and showed their showing. It's now it's PlayStation's turn.
Right.
Whenever they feel like getting off their ass and showing us the roadmap, we're here for it. Whenever you feel like it, PlayStation, we're ready to see what's coming. But
Yeah.
yeah, good
Yeah.
job, Nintendo.
Agreed. Agreed. I think both companies did a great job putting PlayStation, you know, on notice, as far as the future is concerned, and it's definitely time for them to pick a time to say something. Sooner the better. um, but yeah, so obviously,
Absolutely.
um, last but not least here, uh, Mr. Omar had a lot to say about how ecstatic he was about the
I'm
showing.
very curious about Omar's opinion on this show.
Absolutely. So, Omar, go ahead and take it away, man. What did you think? What did you love? I know your favorite. What did you hate? Or did you just love everything about this show? How do you feel?
Everything was trash. It's simple. I don't have a Switch, so everything was trash. Okay, real talk. And so I don't have a Switch, but two games made me want to get one. And if not for the news that Switch 2 is, being developed and stuff like that, I would have probably now gotten a Switch. Because Mario Brothers, wow. Wow, wow, wow. And then you have, I never played a Zelda game. I played Breath of the Wild for like 30 minutes before my friend had to take his Switch with him. And then, what happened? He sold it. If I knew, I would have bought it from him. Ah, man. I'm so pissed about that moment, but okay. Dude, the new Zelda, like, give it to me right now. Like, this is what I love. Thinking outside of the box. Between stapling things on top of each other to be able to get to a new area or just to get to where you need to go, and then having that combat, like, I need this. It reminded me almost like they making use of Dragon Quest, whatchamacallit, building mechanic when it comes to the items that they were there.
Oh, Dragon Quest Builders, the one you were a fan of.
Yeah. So it's all by all, this show, it's like there was stuff that I didn't care about, like for example the Marvel versus Capcom thing. Like I stopped being a fighting fan for the longest.
Understandable.
But I'm not gonna knock it. Like, it's something big, and they have to showcase it. And ton of kids are hitting PlayStation, so it's not like I'm gonna miss out on. But here is the kicker: it's the first party that hitting the hardest for me. It's 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 the Zelda, it's the Mario. Like when you go that strong, and not only that, when you have a release date and you show gameplay, it's over. Which makes it so
So
much
regardless of a
frustrating.
strong third party showing, they did a great job showing you even now that you want to switch.
Mm, for the first party, because all of that party, third party is gonna be on PlayStation or Xbox, not Xbox or PC.
Yeah.
So you're not missing out that much. But their first party is where they outshine the competition. Like, nobody had an idea they're working on a new Mario RPG, turn-based, and the new Zelda, surprise up to us. And then the final nail in the coffin, Metroid 4. I, myself, I'm not a fan of what I was seeing, mostly because I never played Metroid, first party. I always knew that Metroid was a third party Metrovania, but I am aware there is a third party, third person of it. Um, I was,
Omar, hold
yeah,
on, hold on. Our biggest Metroidvania fan has never played the Metroid game.
what?
Our biggest Metroidvania fan here on the panel has never played a Metroid game.
Yeah, I never owned
The
it.
original,
I
the
never.
OG.
So I never owned a Nintendo DS. I never owned a Nintendo Switch. I never. The the only console that I owned from Nintendo was, I think, the Atari. No, no, not the Atari. I might have never owned
Say
anything
boys can
from
say Atari.
Nintendo.
Wow,
I
you've
literally,
never owned
I
anything
yeah, like
Nintendo.
Okay, we can
I
just kick him
grew
out now, right?
I grew up
Yep.
with Sega, Sega Saturn, and the Atari, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Like,
you can go ahead and kick him out the
and
Yeah,
then
Discord.
when,
yeah.
Yeah.
and then PlayStation
What do you
One,
say, Stab? Should we kick him out?
Kick him out.
and then I came to the Netherlands, and you all know my story in Netherlands. I I was lucky that I was able to afford a PlayStation One and then two, and I got a three as a gift. A different story happened, and then four is the actual first PlayStation that I actually bought myself. Like, I never owned a Nintendo, I think, console ever. That's why when you guys are excited about stuff like this, I'm like, I never experienced it. So, but
We're gonna
yeah,
fix that, Omar. We will fix that.
going about the showcase, what I love is they show gameplay and also release date. Which, real talk, release date is not the issue. The issue when you wanna reveal something, showcase it with gameplay. Don't showcase it with CGI. Nobody gonna know what CGI is gonna be like. But yeah, that's about it. Great showing. And I swear, if I didn't know about PlayStation, about Nintendo Switch 2, I'm genuinely this close to go to the shop and I'm like, fuck it, let me pay, what, 300 euro, 400 euro to buy a Switch with a few games.
Honestly,
Cause,
plenty of people are going to be selling them cheap, so you could probably
cause
pick one up cheap, or at least
that,
the smaller one, the Lite, the Nintendo Switch Lite at the very least. So there'll be something, but like they said in the chat, at some point we'll might have to look into doing it on PC, the hard way, but we'll see.
okay. But as for the show, what you call it, rating. I'm genuinely giving it a 10. Because again, I don't own a Switch and I want a Switch. What more should I expect from a company? And it's not like they catered only to me with turn-based and platforming and stuff like that. Like showcased everything, and most of it I'm playing it on PlayStation or on my PC. I like a lot of stuff. Like for example, that game that kinda look a little bit like what's that game that went to that Harvestella. It's like Harvestella, but now with the gameplay mechanic from Pikmin, where
Oh,
you grow your crops, and your crops is actually an entity that fight for you. I'm like, yeah, give me that. I'm gonna play it. Yeah,
I'm not sure about the execution and how I feel about it, but yeah, yeah, that did look really interesting.
I heard people saying it's looking it up. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna play it. It's all about the gameplay for me. Like visuals, stories come second. If your gameplay is not interesting enough for me to be entertained, I'm gonna be bored.
So you like a
And you
lot
don't
of
want to
the. So
worry.
your key thing to take away from all this, from what they showed, you like a lot of the new mechanics they showed, and the
Yeah,
first party RPG Mario, and it
they came
entices
in
you.
swinging, dude. They came absolutely in swinging and knocked it out of the park and surprised everybody.
Okay,
Why you should invest in Nintendo?
that is a fair
And
point.
Morgan said it, but she said it nicely. I'm gonna say it not so nicely. Where the fuck are you, PlayStation?
That
Don't.
is a fair assessment.
Not when you're feeling ready. Nah. Where the fuck are you, PlayStation? How are you gonna let your competition dog walk you like that? Not to mention, we just found out that they're gonna miss Gamescom again.
Yeah, that announcement didn't surprise me, but yeah, PlayStation's definitely gotta set something up here before the end of the year. Like I said, the sooner the better. They've been overly quiet. I know
As,
they're wanting to cook, and they keep saying they're working on stuff, but it's definitely time to show up.
as much as they are the market leader, they're not showcasing it right now. Yes, third-party deals and deals being planned, I get that, but why, like, why are you so quiet? I'm feeling the worst with PlayStation now, especially after a lot of their RP were gonna be games to live service, and they had to pivot with that. So it makes you genuinely question how far are they with the 8 ball.
Yeah, I don't think I'm there yet personally, but yeah, if they end this
Yeah, I'm
year,
not there.
If
yeah, if
if
they
I
end
said
this
it,
year without showing us anything, then yeah, my concern is definitely gonna go up a level. But yeah, I'm not there yet.
Seafresh said it best. If they keep cooking, the food gonna get banned.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely
For some
it's
reason,
time to it's time for show and tell more than anything else right now. They gotta line up some future things. They've been doing great with the releases, so I'm not gonna take that away from them.
yeah, they
Stellar Blade again, working with that team, turned that game into a phenomenal experience, and again, mine and Morgan's game of the year so far. Rise of the Ronin again, also working with that team, phenomenal game. So they've been putting out games for us to play. That's the biggest thing, but definitely time to see that roadmap which typically we don't usually have to question PlayStation for. So, yeah, it's kind of a weird change of pace for them, and I think the current leadership definitely has to get things out in the open and really show us what's to come for PlayStation as well, because the competition is definitely doing that so far. Um, but yeah, as for me, um,
And Nate, one final question to you.
yeah,
The Metroid 4, or the second one that they showcased, do you think it's running on the Switch too?
no, I mean,
Oh,
Nintendo doesn't typically
it does
show
look
things
way
that
too good to be for one. I don't know.
no, I mean, I could see it. I mean, they've become masters at developing for that system. I mean, I think it's a combination of what you see controlling what you see on screen. I mean, it's not like it's there's a massive open world in front of you or anything. So I just think they've gotten really good at programming for it after all this time, and yeah, I mean, I agree. It does look really crispy, for something that is supposed to be on the Nintendo Switch. But I think you'll see the difference once it shows up on the Switch too. Nintendo has a pretty solid history with that.
They've been working on that game for so long. It's probably why it looks so crispy.
Yeah, right. Like I was like, I think they're just in their veteran stage, and it's kind of what you see with PlayStation and all the likes. Once they get to the latter part of the generation with a piece of hardware, and they're able to just pull everything out of it. But yeah, I think it's gonna look even better than that when we see it on the new Switch. But yeah, for me
Yeah,
personally,
this
go ahead.
this is doable. This is doable on the Switch, so I wouldn't count on it that this was running on the Switch too.
Yeah, same. Like I said, it's just not a Nintendo MO. Like I would consider if it was Xbox and something looked crazy and they were on the verge of
Definitely.
theirs,
Yeah.
then yeah, I'd be like, yeah, it's probably PC and they're gonna be like, oh, this is targeting what the next Xbox is supposed to look like. They're the ones that kind of pull that nonsense, but yeah, Nintendo usually keeps it straight up and they reserve the new stuff, for the new show. So yeah, I think once we see Switch 2 officially, then you'll see the difference and see how they really step it up.
The least this could be a cross-gen thing.
Yeah, most likely it will be. I mean, typically at the end of a generation, whatever their big title is, ends up being the cross-gen game that launches with the new system. They did it with Zelda prior and, other games prior to that. So, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be that. The show for me in general, like I said, again, it was great. They did a great showing. They did a solid mixture, first party, third party. I really did like the Mario Luigi brothership. I was kind of confused at first. I wasn't really sure if it was an RPG or not. Like I saw some stuff that looked like it, and then some stuff that quite I wasn't really sure. But yeah, I mean later on when everybody solidified like, oh, this is like the third one to bring into place alongside Mario RPG and the Paper Mario. So yeah, I mean they're clearly paying attention to their fan base. They seem to be really receptive of these games. And as someone who didn't get to play them prior, this is great for me. The game looked updated well. It looked phenomenal. I'm excited to play it. Again, leave it to Nintendo to get me to purchase stuff when I said I wouldn't. Um, and Priscilla is excited to play the Zelda game uh, for the first time. A game where you actually play Zelda, which is just got me laughing. That whole concept is hilarious to me. I still wanna obviously jokingly still call it the Legend of Link, uh, given their naming
The
scheme all
Legend
these
of
years.
Woke,
Yeah,
right?
it's. I mean, for other people, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But
Adventure. Yeah.
yeah. Obviously the Romancing Saga 2, which we mentioned earlier, Dragon Quest 3, HD 2D, phenomenal. And then, like we said, they also announced that 1 and 2 is coming later. So it looks like we're going to get fully updated versions of pretty much every Dragon Quest on modern consoles, which is going to be big. A lot of people, including myself, getting to experience the full breadth of the franchise over time here once everything is fully out and in the open there. Um, the Metroid Prime 4 looked good, but again, like for me personally, it didn't really, that doesn't do anything for me. It was really cool to see everybody else's excitement for it. I'm not a Metroid fan. I never have been. Um, but a surprise for me, which a lot of people didn't really see. So there is a running theme with the Mario Party games where one on the market right now is currently the bad one and has a couple of games that people don't like. And then one is deemed the good one, which again has a couple games that people like, but they typically don't have a ton of activities in the game. Maybe there's 15 to 20 or something like that within the respective Mario Party games. But this new one they announced has 110 party games, which was crazy to me. So it just seems like, at the end of it all, they're putting out the definitive version of a Mario Party, which is crazy for me, who, obviously has a bunch of nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So that, being able to bust that out when you're at a cookout or a party and really get everybody involved and everybody's just playing these mini games, it's good to see them really kind of listen and pay attention to people wanting a lot more inside these Mario Party games, and it looks like they're delivering there. So yeah, shout out to them on that note. They did a much needed improvement to that franchise. For the most part, I think that's probably the majority of what was like really there for me personally. Again, a great showing though. 8 out of 10. There was some other stuff that did look interesting, like the farming one that that Karaba mentioned. And like I said, there was a few other things, but yeah, overall it was a great showing. I wasn't bored at all during it. Again, like I said, I'm more in line with Morgan, about 8 out of 10 for me. It would probably have been higher if I was a Metroid fan or really a Zelda fan like that. But yeah, again, solid showing.
That's your kryptonite, eh? Platformers.
Not necessarily just platformers. I mean, I just don't like. I'm not a fan of a lot of the core franchises that Nintendo tends to make. I mean, it just is. I mean, Zelda's not really a platformer like that, so like it's just
But with this one, it seems to be. That's why I
no. I mean, Zelda period. So Zelda is typically not though, and I
Yeah.
don't like. I haven't liked Zelda since NES. Like I haven't ever
Mm.
liked Zelda. Like it's just that just again Mario as well. Like I haven't liked a Mario game since Mario 64. As far as like your traditional Mario games, um, and
Morgan, can we kick
yeah,
him?
I
Let's
know,
do it.
I know. But again, like I said, they're retooling everything and they've got other stuff to offer. The Mario RPGs are definitely much more interesting for me. So that's something again that Nintendo shows their versatility and ability to make Mario do anything. So yeah, maybe with the
I mean, there is a
Switch 2 we'll
Dr.
get there.
Mario, so
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really admire about Nintendo is the versatility that they um, allow with their IPs. And they just don't keep them in one particular genre or just one particular way forever. Like they're always like switching it up. Like you'll see Mario in 20 different types of games, and I think that's really cool that they do that. Same with Zelda and stuff like that. I think it's a good way to keep those IPs alive and fresh, and you know make it more interesting for a wider variety of gamers. Um, yeah, and I think that's something that PlayStation and Xbox can take note on. PlayStation kind of does that sometimes, when it comes like, when they had their revitalization of God of War, but
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of doing it now with Horizon, they're
Horizon.
putting it in a Lego style form now, and there's probably I think they talked about there's going to be like a multiplayer too. So it seems like they're trying to diversify as much as they can with their IPs. And I think that's definitely something they can take notes from Nintendo. Like they'll put their IPs in every genre, and I respect that about them.
Yeah, and do it really well. Like I always tell people, like whether it's for me or not, the one thing I can say objectively as someone who's played games for a long time is that regardless of me not being a fan of the traditional Mario type games, they've all been really good. And that's my big takeaway, from what Nintendo typically does. They always deliver on the quality. Um, and I definitely cannot hold them back there. I definitely feel like sometimes they get that fun old 10-point swing, for being a lot of people's childhood console, especially Mario being such a household name and Zelda and so on and so forth. I was like, you're big when so your grandmother can identify that game you're playing, and I'm sure everybody's heard a relative referred to whatever they're playing as the Nintendo.
The Mario game.
So a lot of people will do that. It's like your grandmother. You want that Nintendo again? Even though you're playing PlayStation or Sega or whatever you're playing. But so just real quick, we'll jump right into the next part of it after we all kind of gave our scores. We also spoke about the other showcases last week. So obviously, one of the big topics that came out of all this after all the showcases finally showed is who won not E3 for you guys. So Omar, I'll just go with you first. Just we ain't got to dwell on it. We don't got to go crazy. Just who won not E3 for you?
Nintendo. I'm not even close.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of close for you. I mean, you gave.
Because they came with what I am asking Xbox to do. Showcase third party title. Gameplay.
I mean, but you only gave Xbox. You only took 1 point off of Xbox. You gave them like a 9 or a 9.5.
No, I'm all about, I have always said, gameplay first. And Fable, we haven't seen shit from Fable yet.
Okay, but you still gave that showcase a 9, though.
You did. You were ecstatic about the Xbox showcase originally.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking all types of praise to that
It
Nintendo came out, and then he said, "Man,
yes,
fuck this Xbox
yes,
showcase."
yes.
Get him.
That's sweet
Get him.
up, though.
But get this. We
Explain
we
yourself.
just got a new Mario RPG. Do you know how much I love Mario RPG in general? I played Sunshine. So
You're not defending yourself very well right now, Omar. I'm gonna let you know that right now. Okay,
So-
because these all. Okay, so what are your points against what makes Nintendo's showcase more superior than Xbox showcase?
again, they showcase gameplay. Even
Mhm.
with the reveal game, which is Metroid. I mean, it's not revealed, but point taken. They came out swinging with gameplay. Yet a game that's coming out next year, Fable, they haven't showcased shit for it. That's what I'm basing it on. Gears E-Day, they didn't show gameplay in engine. I don't care about in engine. I care about gameplay. I have always said it, gameplay first. And that's what Nintendo did best. They came in swinging, they didn't bore you with CGI nonsense. As far, the only thing that they did that was CGI, I think, was the Dragon Quest 2 or 3 remake, I think. But anything besides that was strictly gameplay. And for some
It was
reason,
CGI.
sorry?
I don't think Dragon Quest was CGI. I think you mean like
Okay,
cutscenes. Is that what you mean?
gotcha. But point taken is they showed everything being played. Simple. When I think about the new Zelda, I'm not questioning how is the gameplay looking like. Nah, I know it's a platformer with combat, and you can put
What?
top on top each other. Yeah, go ahead.
Omar, Zelda is not a platformer. Stop it.
I mean, this one is.
No,
You're
it's
literally
not.
platforming.
It's
Okay,
still
It's
Waiting
considered
for
not.
me
an
to
It's
come.
adventure.
never
I've
It's
been
an
been.
waiting for
adventure
me to
game.
say something. I've been waiting for me to come through with the elbow. Like, nah, it's not a
It's
platform.
no, it's an
Okay,
adventure game, dude. Come on.
okay. Point taken is I know what Zelda combat or gameplay is, but still, right now, I still don't know what's up with Fable. What did they
Mhm,
improve upon the previous one?
mhm,
Hello? Yes, they wowed me with Sons of Midnight. Finally, they did something great, and I give
mhm.
them props for it. But
And they also
your
showcased
competition,
But it
Expedition
wasn't it
33.
wasn't enough of a wow factor, is what you're saying.
your competition did stuff just better. That's it.
Yeah, you're saying South of Midnight wasn't you needed more of a wow factor, right?
No, I like if they, for example, came out swinging with Fable, showed us gameplay, showed us how different from the previous one, then
Mhm.
I would. It would be difficult to put the Nintendo Showcase ahead of the Xbox Showcase if Xbox had one or two more gameplay, but that's what they didn't. And to me, at the end of the day, both had multiplayer, but the first party where the meat and potato lies. And sadly, Xbox is still stuck in the mentality they don't need to showcase gameplay for their games.
I mean, they
Which
showed gameplay for
it,
some of their games, but not all
yeah,
of them.
but Fable, where's Fable? Fable's
You still
coming
on
out
Fable?
next year.
My man
They
feels some
never
type of
said
way
it's coming
about
out
Fable.
next year.
Yeah, he didn't say that yet.
If they never gave a date, you're assuming it's next year.
Wait, give me a second. I will look it up.
Oh, okay. Just not gonna take my word for it. Oh, that's fine.
No, I thought they did. That's
No, they
why.
never they never said
No,
it.
they've never given a date. You're assuming it's next year, Omar.
Yeah,
Okay, I
everybody's
got
just
you.
guessing that. Yeah. All right. So for you, you say after. So you clearly enjoyed both shows, which is
Mm.
which is
Listen,
why.
no. Let me say, because
Mm-hmm.
this is the man who was propping the hell up out this Xbox show. And now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden he got
I
all
am
these
not.
he got all these negatives
I am
now.
not allowed to love a showcase.
No, you can love whatever you want. I'm just saying, where were these negative points when we were giving 8s and you said that's cap?
You did.
No,
You
Now
you
did.
we were
see,
saying all
no,
types of points
wait.
that it didn't have that
Did you
surprise
see me
factor. The
lower
same thing
Xbox
you
showcase
said.
though?
Listen, the same thing you said right there, that it didn't have that surprise. That was one of the main reasons I gave it an 8. And you said, but Morgan, it still has all these games you want to play. That doesn't really seem like a fair assessment. I said, but it didn't have that surprise factor. You said, I don't know, but it's still a 9 because that was a great showing. La la la. But now all of a sudden you've seen the Nintendo showcase, and all those negatives that I said are now being applied to why it's better,
No, it
why
just
the
had more
Nintendo
gameplay.
showcase
No, I
is
did
better
complain
than
about
the
Fable, didn't
Xbox.
I?
You
I
said what?
complained about the Fable one, didn't I?
I
I
mean,
said, where is
That was the
Fable
only
gameplay?
that was the only thing you
And
complained about.
where is Gears E-Day gameplay? I specifically talked about them.
but
But I
you
Listen,
what
said,
your score
Mister.
was jumping out the
Listen,
gym
Mister.
originally for the
Listen,
Xbox
yeah, Mister.
showcase.
It's a
It's
10.
a
Yeah,
10.
that was the original score. It was a 10, and then when we had to bring you down to reality, you were like, okay, well, it's a 9 still. It's still amazing, and
yeah,
and
nine.
all these little negatives I was pointing out, you were like,
And the Nintendo
I
Showcase
don't
is
know
a
about
10
that,
for me.
Morgan.
And the
Anything less than
Nintendo
a 9
Showcase
is
is a 10
cap.
for me.
You know
No.
Again,
what? That's okay. That's okay. That's okay,
Morgan.
Omar. That's
You
okay.
need you need to get one thing very
Ooh.
simple.
Okay,
I
let me get one thing straight. Okay. What
One
is it,
thing,
Omar?
very quick. I
Hmm.
can play all these games that's coming up from Xbox. I have access
Hmm.
to them. But the
Yeah, we both
Nintendo
do.
one, I don't even have access to them. And I gave that show a 10. Like, let that sink in. Again, I never imagined Nintendo to go back to the drawing
But see,
board.
that's my
And
point, though, Omar.
what's
That was
your
my
point?
point. That was my
What's your
point. That was the reason I gave Xbox an 8, because I was like, it was great, but it showed everything that we already knew was coming. And you
but the
said, I don't think that's a really good that's really good point to be giving it an 8. I mean, it was still great, Morgan, and you're gonna play all those games. I'm like, yeah, but
but the
it didn't show anything that I wasn't expecting.
I
And
got you,
now
but the
now you're
difference
giving
is
this one a 10 because it
Xbox.
showed you things that you weren't expecting.
The different thing is with Xbox, at least for me, I don't know about other
Mhm.
people. We
Yeah.
had no idea how South of Midnight is gonna be gameplay wise. So
Okay.
even though it was already revealed, it was
Mhm.
still something fresh and new and
Okay.
exciting to be showcased. While with Nintendo, not only did they revealed it, they showed gameplay directly, and even with Metroid, yes, it was revealed, but we finally saw gameplay, and it looked phenomenal. It just Nintendo had more first-party titles that showcased actual gameplay. That's basically it. I think if you at least the ones that I'm interested in, cause what do you call it? Xbox has that Indiana Jones, but we're not gonna talk about that. And the Perfect Dark was genuinely, I said it during the show, and I said it on air. It's literally like Mirror Edge with Gone. So I was not wowed by it. However, that showcase did prove that Xbox was still competing, and I wanted that because I wanted something from PlayStation, and now Nintendo dog walked both companies, and I'm genuinely hoping for Nintendo, for PlayStation to wake up and dog walk all these companies. It's that
So
simple.
then you ran out of numbers now. So what would you give PlayStation?
So
It's a 12.
Nintendo is a 10, and
No,
Xbox
I'm
is a
saying
9.
if PlayStation dog walk Bo, what will be the score? Because you just gave Nintendo a 10.
Would be another 10.
He said
That's my
he
point,
he
Omar.
said
But
he
I
said
You
it's
can
a
score
10
say,
to the
shit
but I,
fifth
way
power.
too fucking high. Your
what,
curve is
what
high.
am
That's
I
why I was
supposed
saying
to say? At 11?
because that's my point. Because like you gave it the Xbox showcase like a 9 or a 9.5, but now you're looking at it with the factor of after the Nintendo showcase came out, you're like, oh my god, this one's so much better. So that's why that was my point. You rated that a little too high for yourself because we were telling you it's a little too high up there, Omar. And you were like, no, it was fantastic, it was great, it did everything I wanted to do, it was amazing.
It
And then Nintendo comes
was,
out and you're
but
like, well, it wasn't that great. That's my point. That's my
but we're
point. You be
comparing,
getting too
but hold
hyped.
up, we're comparing now showcases, right? I
Yes,
didn't have
yes.
access to the
But
Nintendo
but
showcase.
that's my
So
point,
I
Omar. We
couldn't,
were trying to tell you things it was missing, and you were like, you didn't want to hear it. You were like, no, it was great. You guys can't tell me what I feel. Like, no, it's perfect. It did everything I needed to do.
Don't
And
worry,
then when Nintendo
we're gonna
comes out, you're
locate
like,
that clip.
oh
We're gonna locate that clip and
wait.
post it later.
It didn't have gameplay. It didn't have
oh,
the wow factor. Man, maybe it wasn't. That's why I be telling you to reel it back a little bit because you be getting hype.
You be
And
hype.
I'm just like,
You do be really hype
it
in
was
the
great.
moment.
Yeah, it was great, but it still was missing some stuff. And you were like, nah, anything below a 9 is cat. And I was like, all right, Omar, you got it, bro.
go ahead, say what your opinion is.
Oh, for me, as far as who won,
Mm-hmm.
got it. Damn.
Remember, you're an ambassador,
I'm an ambassador who tells the truth, sir.
Oh man.
That's why they don't like me. Let's see who won. For me, I'm gonna have to say Xbox, just because there's more games on that showcase that I personally am gonna be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's from their first party or third party, there was just like I had to write them down. There's like 10 or 12 games from that showing that I'm gonna be playing.
Yeah,
That's
same.
not to take anything away from Nintendo. Nintendo had an also great showing. Like I gave them both an equal score. It's just with Nintendo, there's less games at that showcase that I'm gonna be playing. So for me, Xbox did it. I mean, there's South of Midnight, Expedition 33. I'm gonna play Gears E-Day whenever that decides to come out. Fable, Perfect Dark, Stay at Decay 3. I'm trying to think of everything that was shown there. Like I got to go back and look at the list.
Metaphor.
But yeah,
I
there's
don't know if you
just
said that
yeah,
already.
Metaphor.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot They forgot they showed that at the Xbox Showcase. Metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just so many games that they showed that I'm going to be playing. So for me, that's 2-1. Because unfortunately, PlayStation didn't decide to
attend.
to show up, and they didn't deem it worthy to know what the hell they're making over there. So yeah, that's 2-1 for me.
No doubt. Understandable. That honestly, that was a fair assessment, and I get where you're coming from on that one. Weeb, who won not E3 for you, sir?
Nintendo, hands down.
What
I'm
was
sorry, Morgan.
what was the turning factor? What did it for you?
Oh no, it's all good.
Well, the games, of course, but also
Mm-hmm.
that Nintendo do what Xbox don't. They actually give you release
Oh,
dates. They actually show you
Ooh,
gameplay.
I
we got a
see.
new slogan. Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that's kind of the thing, and I can understand why Omar uh, sort of reevaluate the Xbox showcase, because it look yeah, we were all very pleased with what they shown. But if you indeed let it sink in and go back to it, you think, okay, yeah, they shown a lot, but they didn't really drop a lot of release dates. They didn't really did a lot of deep dives into gameplay, right? We had CGI trailers. We had being the critique for Fable in the sense, like what I've seen, like I'm excited for it, but I mean, if you want to really get like an impression of, okay, so what's the gameplay gonna be like? Yeah, I mean, we don't have that, and sure, you can argue, yeah, okay, it's probably gonna be like the previous Fable games, but can we really, be sure of that? Because I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
mean, it's not the original developer. It's been such a long time. Um, Even Sony, like with God of War, they changed up the gameplay for the better. I mean, or I mean, both are equally valid, but in a sense, like what they did paid off, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
worked, but yeah, we don't really. We don't really we shouldn't really give Xbox that same leeway, considering that they don't have that great of a track record in that regard. And like the same with Perfect Dark, like they put their own, well, their own, but they put a new stamp on it in the sense that it's not the traditional shooter that the original Perfect Dark was, but more with elements, with parkour elements, that those kind of things. Um, so it's going to be a different kind of experience, right? And that's not necessarily bad. Like what I saw looked amazing, and I definitely am very interested in it. As a fan of the Perfect Dark franchise, I guess it has become a franchise by this time. But like when you go back to, you think, okay, yeah, they've shown this, but like we're not getting a release window, so we still have no guarantee that this game is going to look like this when it comes out. Like there is no confidence in it that it even
Mm,
comes out. Like it could still, like it wouldn't be the first time, right?
I
I mean,
mean, I
we,
get you,
we
but this is
Don't you
critical
jinx it. Don't
dynamic
you dare jinx it.
that helping. No, because Xbox is not alone. If Xbox was alone, I would 100% be with you. But Crystal Dynamic is with them. Doesn't that give you confidence?
Crystal
yeah,
Dynamics
but
been fucking up in Tomb
that
Raider, so I don't know about it. It don't give me no confidence. So
yeah, but that's kind of the thing. Microsoft, okay, but what about Scalebound? I mean, that also was Platinum Games, right? It wasn't Xbox developing it themselves, and it didn't come to fruition. And look, we don't have to go back to Scalebound every single time, but there have been several games that Microsoft has canceled, or were in development hell and then came out, half baked. We shouldn't mention it, but Crackdown 3 happened. I mean, that's kind of the problem that Microsoft has. And look, of course, everybody can fix their reputation, by just producing great games. and giving us what we want as gamers. And then like if they did that, if they on a consistent basis did what they said they were going to do and delivered and be honest with their stuff, then yeah, I mean then they would be given that trust that when they show something, even without the release date, that we can be sure that's going to look as good as they said, that it's coming out. Like this kind of thing with the trust we put in PlayStation, as much as we give them shit now for what they don't show or the way they communicate. Like when they drop a trailer of a game, like we can be certain it's coming out, because I don't think they've ever really canceled like a major announcement that just didn't, like, first party announcement that just went up nowhere, right? Like if they actually showed you trailer or gameplay, whatever, and in general, like the games end up looking better than they do, when they were first revealed. So like they can be given that trust, like okay, like if they're showing something that looks great, it's probably going to be a great game, and it's going to come out and come out the way it looks. And Xbox doesn't have that leeway, and that's why if you're seeing a showcase like that, you know you have every right to be skeptical about it. I know that some of the Xbox fans used to uh, throw the accusation around that every time there was a Sony showcase, there was like smokes and mirrors, but it's quite ironic because that goes back to, I think it was Killzone 1 or 2, whatever, where they had like a vertical slice that ended up looking better than the actual game, even
when it
actually
released.
ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like literally the only time that Sony did that, and they learned from that, and they never pulled that shit again. And Microsoft is pulling that all the time because they're showing you games with high-end PC, so it's never going to look like that on your Xbox. Games have come out downgraded, or haven't come out at all, or have come out like
Forza
terrible.
Motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or
Yep.
what was Phantom Dust, I guess. There's also a game that they end up canceling. Like Crackdown 3 didn't come out what they promised. With the cloud-based destructive mechanics and shit like that. Like it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So
Overpromise and
that's that.
underdeliver. That's been their problem for a long time.
Exactly. So,
I
so that's
think that, but that's just Xbox not knowing when to hold it and when to fold it. Like for example, with Scalebound, with Crackdown, they should have just scrapped the idea or went to the drawing board.
Well,
But
no, no.
instead,
they showed it too
No.
soon.
They showed it. Yeah. There's no excuse there. I mean, they showed it and they weren't able to deliver on that. And look,
Mm-hmm.
there can be all kinds of reasons for something like that to happen, but it is a fact
it is fact.
that
Yeah, I got you.
Xbox has a reputation of that happening to them, and that's well, either they're the most unlucky publisher or console manufacturer in the world, or there's something just going on there that they don't really have a great way of selecting their games, or supporting the games, or they're probably very detached from the actual development of the games, which is something we've heard, right? It's not just mere speculation. Like we know that there is a lot of detachment from management from the actual development studios, which is a problem in the sense that they're just, oh yeah, show something, right? And they're completely unaware of the actual state of development of the game. Or I mean, that's sort of with Halo Infinite when it first revealed, like they had no idea how the game looked like. Like that's sort of, yeah, I mean the mismanagement, I guess. 'Cause, like you're not involved with the product that you're selling, and that's a problem. That's a
Yeah,
problem on a management level. Um, but back to the showcase, like that's sort of a thing that you have to keep in mind when you see that, and that's why it's sort of the Nintendo showcase for me was a better show, because again, I still like the Xbox showcase very much. Like it's still a solid eight out of 10, but the Nintendo Showcase showed me games that I really want to play, gave me release dates, like some like that in typical Nintendo fashion, just announce it like a major IP like Zelda, Mario, and then just yeah, it's coming out this year, right? Just like that, right?
Oh yeah, that Zelda game is gonna make. I'm gonna give Astrobot around for its money.
Definitely. I mean, and look, we're all better for it in that sense
Yep.
that we're getting two great games in the same month. Like again, it's crazy, in terms of game releases of like that's also kind of, I mean, it's a pretty different topic, but that also ties into all the problems with games, failing in recently. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not surprising games fail if there's such a crowded release schedule, and it's not just like because it's constantly happening, that there isn't really a good time to release a game without basically running on a post, because there's always something coming that's potentially going to draw away attention from your game, because other people or the same people want to play that other game. But yeah, I mean, with again, like the Nintendo Showcase, for me, like these three games, the Mario, Luigi RPG, Zelda, and Metroid Prime 4, that's exactly what I wanted to see, right? And all other games were fine too. Like there were a lot of surprise announcements, and sure, there's a big, AAA games like Xbox definitely had that pat down, right? Obviously, because it, yeah, the Switch doesn't run games like that. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, like I think in terms of what they like shown, and versus the trust we have, and the fact that they're showing gameplay, showing release dates, and based on their reputation that if they say Metroid Prime 4 is coming in 2025, it's going to come out in 2025. Like I I have to give it to Nintendo. Like they blew me away with just,
Fanboy.
well, I mean, fine, you can call me fanboy
I'm
if you
joking
want.
with you. No, I'm joking with you.
Uh,
But I agree with your point about Xbox being unreliable, and you don't know what you're gonna get with them. If it's gonna
yeah,
be genuine what it is or not. I got you.
yeah, again, and there were some great, and I like look, and like you said, like there was plenty of games announced on the showcase that were also multi-plat, and same can be said for Xbox, right? And that's fine, right? It doesn't change the overall score of the showcase itself, because if you had sort of the opportunity to show a game first or announce a game on your showcase, that's a win for you, even if that game is coming everywhere, right? It's evaluating the showcase, and that's fair that you just made, even if it's a multiplat, you got that game on your showcase and were able to show it to people for the first time, or uh, expand upon what we know about the game, etc. So that's fine, right? And there were some great games shown on the Xbox showcase, and some great games shown on the Nintendo showcase. And the only difference is Nintendo, like I said, their first party games, they actually had release dates, actually had
And they
gameplay.
have the track record. I think that's
And
what come down to.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, that definitely helps, because again, if you don't have that track record, then yeah, you can show it's like I saw some people make comparisons like with the previous showcase, which is also a good showcase with Xbox, but then sort of like there's a lot of parallels to be drawn there. They're showing you again a trailer for a game, but not really much gameplay, and not really telling you when the game is actually going to come out. And yeah, that sort of, it's kind of like, yeah, what's going to happen next year? Are we going to get the same games and some great trailers, and still no word on when the game actually is going to come out? And that's kind of, yeah, that's sort of the consideration I had when comparing the two, is that, yeah, I mean, in the end, Nintendo did a better job in terms of showcasing things that we want to play, and actually giving us concrete information. Okay, when can we play those games?
No doubt. So you ultimately weren't disappointed by either. They were both solid, but Nintendo took the edge
Some,
for you.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, understandable. And like I said, I definitely get where you're coming from because, like I said, if I was a fan of some of those games, it definitely would have pushed it over the edge for me. Um, for me, who won not E3, it's again, I liked a lot of what Nintendo showed, but yeah, by far for me, as far as number of games I'm gonna play, that I'm really looking forward to is definitely I gotta give it to Xbox. Um,
Wow.
it's I
On the
mean
Hopefully with
it's
the tie.
tabletop. I
2
thought you're a
Nintendos and
PlayStation.
2
I thought you're a
Xboxes.
PlayStation fanboy. What happened to that card?
uh,
Oh
Damn.
man. Well, I guess you could say because most of those games are coming to PlayStation, he's still a PlayStation
Ooh.
fanboy.
Okay. Play just not checkers. I see you. I see you.
I'm also a PC gamer, so Flight Simulator
Yeah, PC
2024,
master race over here.
looked really good. They're adding a lot of updates to that, a lot of mission structure to that.
Yeah, they finally added a actual gameplay to that game.
Exactly. They're actually giving you things to do in
You're
this
not just
one.
like looking at Google Earth all day.
Pretty
So
much.
I have a question. Um, the Mario RPG did that did that not do anything for you?
Oh
I'm
man, he said,
I
"Why
mean,
aren't you a Nintendo fan?" What's
when I
up,
spoke about
Tony?
it, when I spoke about Nintendo, I said it looked good.
Yeah,
One
but
game
it's
is not
not
going to
like
trump that for me.
Omar said he gonna win you over on the Nintendo side.
I'm
He's not
trying.
gonna give
I'm
up.
trying. I'm trying to sway him to
There's
to
nothing
the good
Let it
else.
side.
go. Let it go.
Yeah,
Let it go.
there's nothing else first party from them that is something that I personally want to play. Like, so that was
Mm-hmm.
the one game. Like, the only reason I'm buying
I
Zelda
heard you.
is because Priscilla wants to play it, and
Yeah, he tried to put that
Party's for everybody
he
else.
tried to, he tried to put that Mario RPG. But what about
Yeah, I mean
you like
Yeah.
RPGs?
it was phenomenal. Like, I was super surprised, and I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look
Oh man.
amazing.
Yeah, like I said, they had a great
This is
showing.
why
They
I
both
asked him
did, but
because
yeah,
I know he loves that turn-based, especially it being turn-based. Like, and it's not a remake. I think it's not a remake, or is it?
yeah,
No,
but
it's a
the
new game.
yeah, it's a
It's
new
a new
game.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, but I mean, at the same time, when it comes to surprises, I mean, it's not like Xbox had none. I mean, Expedition 33,
Yeah, but
knocked
that's
it.
multi-plat.
I don't
But
care.
I get you.
It was on their
Mm,
show.
that's not what you said when you
The-
first saw it. Mm.
yeah, yeah. When you first saw it, you was going
You see,
crazy for like
Yeah,
3 days.
I
when
agree. I
everyone
So
agree.
showed it though, he was talking all mad shit. Look, oh man, how the tables have
No,
turned on this man. It's crazy.
I'm all about the better thing, and
Uh
Xbox,
huh.
the Nintendo Showcase was just way better
And
for
he was
me.
like, we gotta give it to him though, cause they
what that I
showed it.
mean,
Yeah.
that's why
But
this
yeah,
is
no, I get you.
our opinions. I mean, like I said, I don't expect Flight Simulator to be a factor for anybody else. I'm the one that plays that, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
You don't know me.
okay.
I'm gonna be in the skies.
you gonna be in the skies. Yeah. Oh well,
Wait, you gonna try it?
you do got the G Force now. I'm
I
forgetting you
think
got the juice now.
I think she's having suffering from insomnia. That's why she wanna, the Nyquil is not helping her, so she want a better Nyquil.
But yeah, unlike Omar, I actually like the Fable showing. So what they showed me of
Oh,
Fable was a much better showing than what they did before. I
Interesting.
yeah,
felt like they did a great job. Um, like Morgan said, regardless of me being disappointed of it being in engine, they still showed State of Decay 3, and later looking into what the developers were talking about the updates and things that they're doing to the game, that enticed me even more about State of Decay 3, and boosted my excitement for that. Even though not really particularly up my alley typically, I actually thought mixtape actually looked pretty good, which was
Oh
also
yeah,
shown at this
mixtape.
show, which I know Morgan is a massive fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ironic. I meant to tell you, my niece messaged me about the double expansion or whatever it's called. The for the
damn, yeah. I know what I forgot. Life is
yeah
Strange.
yeah Life is Strange. She was like, "This looks
Oh,
good."
And
Marvin just got
oh,
it, right?
Misfit.
The one you got
Like
got, right?
so many games they showed over there that I want to play.
Exactly. Yeah. So She's coming in right after you after all these games. So Plague's Tale,
She should.
and then now this. So I'm gonna put that on her computer when I go over there later.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Dragon Age. They also showed Veilguard, which again, like I said, I've been a longtime fan of that series. So that trailer initially, I saw
Which one?
through all that. Dragon Age, Veilguard.
No, you said. Oh, I thought something else. Okay, I got you. I
No,
had the Dragon Age part, but I
no, I
thought
said
that's
I'm
a
a
different
huge
game.
fan of Dragon Age. Period.
Oh, okay.
So
Same.
that trailer did not bother me. I saw through it. They've always had quirky natures of their characters and stuff like that. So I could tell there's a lot of new people looking at that trailer trying to say this isn't Dragon Age, and I'm like, well, y'all clearly stopped playing Dragon Age at Origin apparently.
Me.
And even at Origin, there was a bunch of characters that said a bunch of funny stuff. So again, I just don't think people were paying attention. But yeah, I mean, Perfect Dark, the initial showing looks solid. They also showed Flintlock, South of Midnight looked
Which
good.
we just got a review for demo or not demo preview for, and yeah, it's looking great. It's looking mighty.
Yeah, and then Doom again looked really amazing. So I thought they knocked that out of the park. They're doing something different with that now. It looks like a lot more grounded gameplay with the shield and everything that he kind of had going on. They solidified the Diablo expansion for later this year, which was huge, I know, for a lot of people. I myself am playing the current season for Diablo 4, so that'll be a toss-up, whether I go in for that. Stalker 2, again, September 5th, release date, looked amazing. I'm
Finally.
ready to play that. I've been ready to play that, so I'm super excited for that. And then, Gears E-Day and Indiana Jones, that was probably the least of it for me, along with whatever they showed for Sea of Thieves. Do not care. But all the other things, like I said, that I mentioned, they knocked it out the park. Also showed me Age of Mythology Retold, which I used to play Age of Mythology, like me and we were geeking out on during the showcase. So there was that as well. And, while not theirs, again, they also showed Metal Gear Solid Delta, which, again, I know Weeb and Morgan are both down with me on that one. And Assassin's Creed
yeah.
Shadows, right behind me
Where
on
were you
that
when
one too.
when I was struggling trying to figure out what all these games were?
I'm
they
cheating.
showed?
I'm cheating.
You were saving it for yourself. Oh, so you ain't
No,
shit.
I'm cheating.
What?
I pulled it
What
up later.
happened? I thought.
Oh, you got the cheat sheet. Okay.
Yeah, I got the
I
cheat sheet
thought-
because ain't no way I remembered all that.
What
Yeah.
happened to you? I thought you're an Xbox hater.
Not at all. That's what
Wow.
they say in them
It's almost
streets.
as if
But
you actually play games and don't just play console war. Insane.
yeah, they that's projection from a lot of people. But yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with us. I'm about these games at the end of the day, and they showed a ton of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all I really care about. So like I said, yeah, they did it for me. They won it for me. So we got a nice split. So we'll definitely have to get the opinion of the other panel members at a later time,
Console wars live on.
right? And see who definitively won, not E3 as it pertains to the Otter Players podcast.
Who won? Not E3. You decide.
Oh.
Epic rap battle of history.
What's up, Wara? Yeah, we had some difficulty with the setting the notification and it going live when we went live, so we'll have to figure that out. So we'll do a test stream later this week and figure out what went on with that. So yeah, we had to cancel it in order to go live. Like it was like preventing us from going live. So that's what went on with that. But yeah, man, I'm glad you made it. Yeah, it's gonna be a significantly shorter show than usual because I was invited to a cookout, and I'm not about to miss that. But yeah, no, we got into it. We're back at it, and we'll jump right into the next topic. So after all this news and all the things that happened of all these great games and all these great showings, one game that seems to, constantly be on everyone's mind, whether it was at first it was whether it is a Souls-like or, what is this game? It looks amazing. A lot of people are really excited for it. And of course, I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong. Um, the development for this game has been going rather well from what everybody could kind of see. But of course, they made a recent announcement with their latest trailer, which looked phenomenal, for the record, and also happy to announce it is more so Souls adjacent and not Souls like. So, which personally is a great thing for me. I know Morgan was excited for it as well. Um, and I think we're all going to ultimately play it in our own time here from the podcast. But
Day one.
yeah, absolutely. They released a definitive statement, but of course, in typical fashion, despite the definitive statement directly from the studio, people are arguing about whether or not they're lying, or PlayStation paid for something. But the direct statement, released when asked on which platforms can you play Black Myth Wukong, uh, the studio stated PC and PS5 users can enjoy the full game starting August 20th, 2024. We're currently optimizing the Xbox X and S version to meet our quality standards, so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. Again, clear, concise. Honestly, there's no argument there. For me, I think they said it quite plainly. Whether it's the Series S causing an issue or not, we don't know. They're not going to particularly get into the details. Xbox has come out and stated that they're obviously working with the studio to try and get the kinks ironed out. Like I said, we don't know about the delay, how long it's going to take. These are things that happen, I personally don't blame them for releasing it, on the platforms that it's going to be ready for. I've seen way too many times in history where games are delayed up to a year because of optimization issues on one platform or another. So personally, I'm for this, and if someone's really excited for the game to that degree, I think you're going to invest, or if you're a gamer like that, and you have the means, you've already invested in one of these other platforms that's going to release on. And if it's about the game at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, where where you're going to play it. And if you really are hell bent on playing it on Xbox, then you'll put in the time and you'll wait, and there's going to be plenty to play in the meantime as well. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal personally, to me, but people are obviously making it a lot bigger of a deal than it is. You've had hearsay going on, articles being drawn up, saying, they can't quite say that PlayStation made a deal, this, that, and the third, which again doesn't make any sense. We're all very aware that when a deal is in place, whether it's Xbox, Microsoft, or Nintendo, when they make deals, they plaster these games all up, down, left, right, and center, all over their shows. They parade it around, the same way Expedition 33 appeared on the Xbox showcase first, and they made sure to show you front and center, Game Pass day one. They clearly have a deal in place with that game. Like, there's no questions about it. So, I again, I think we're kind of all in agreement. There's no credence to this, but Morgan, what do you think here? You feeling like it's just projection? People feeling some type of way, and people just excited for this game and just feeling the type of way about it being delayed for their preferred platform. How do you feel?
Well, as we know, either yesterday, the day before yesterday, Jez Gordon came out with a article where he supposedly finally got a statement from Microsoft about the whole situation. And the statement that Microsoft released was something on the lines of, we are not in the position to discuss our partners, the deals that our partners, or exclusivity deals our partners make and don't make, blah, 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 blah. Essentially trying to assert the fact that there is some type of deal behind closed doors going on with this game. And I think that's so funny. I think it's absolute bullshit. Because that line that they said, while it's a true statement. So they can't say that they lied, because that is a true statement. Microsoft can't comment on deals made by other people, other publishers, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that applies to what's happening with Black Myth Wukong. So they could just be like, we were just talking about, we can't say things about deals. Like,
Yeah, we
again,
don't have any
it's
knowledge
this,
of that. Yeah.
yeah, it's this wordplay that a lot of businesses use. And let's be clear, this is absolutely 100% about the fucking Series S. Okay, the Series S, once again, all right, is holding back gaming development. They're delaying this shit because this fucking piece of shit low RAM ass console is causing trouble again. And like, people want to sit here and assert that, well, there's other games. We look at games like Assassin's Creed, or GTA 6 will most definitely launch with a Series S version, or Xbox's own first party, Hellblade, Starfield, yada yada yada. But what people fail to understand, or either they know it and they just refuse to acknowledge it, is that one, all developers are not the same. Two, all developers' engines are not the same. And three, and probably most importantly, all developers and publishers' resources are not the same. Which is why studios like Larian, when it came to Baldur's Gate 3, this studio, and the countless others that have, either been delayed or have spoken about the burden that it is to develop for this Series S, have come out and said that. Like, it's usually smaller studios who have a limited amount of employees and resources and time. And so while the version for Xbox eventually comes out, it takes longer because it's a different SKU with a smaller RAM than the other two consoles that, are the main consoles that they're working with. And then there's PC. So it's not that these developers are bad, or that they're either bad, or they're pro PlayStation, or they're just incompetent. No, they just lack the resources and the time and the money that these other big developers have, and they're able to have more employees who can work on this, or put more money into it to be able to delay a game so that it can all come out at one time. But yeah, the whole rhetoric from the fanboys is utter bullshit. The whole whispering there's a deal going on behind closed doors, bullshit. As we know, when PlayStation takes a deal with anybody, or when PlayStation offers a deal, I should say, with anybody, whether it's a Stellar Blade, a Rise of the Ronin, a Stray, a Kena, they scream it to the high heavens. We know for a fact when PlayStation is partnering with a game or a developer or a publisher, because they let it be known, right? When they had the marketing rights for Hogwarts, they were waving that flag every damn where,
Mm-hmm.
right? When they partner with smaller studios and indie projects like Kana and Stray, we know that, right? They tell us that they market the hell out of these type of games. We would know if there was a marketing deal with Black Myth Wukong, because PlayStation wouldn't have shut up about it. They would have plastered it everywhere. We would have seen billboards about it. We would have seen it most likely would have seen it at the State of Play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, none of this. What would be advantageous of PlayStation to make this game exclusive and then not market it that it's going to be exclusive to their platform, right? Because the point of exclusivity is because you want to garner sales, right, for your platform. So
Exactly.
they removed it from Xbox, but they're not going to market it at all. Make it make sense. They have never been ashamed of telling us when there's letting us know when there's a business deal going on, right? Or this game is exclusively on PS5, right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
have a problem saying that. So for them to all of a sudden go hush and do some kind of deals in the background, and then you know have the developers lie and say, "Hey, it's just tell them it's because of some technical issues going on with the Series X and S." or quality control, and then it'll come later. Like, why? What would be the point? I don't understand what PlayStation would gain from that. Like, because to be honest, they were going to get more sales on Black Myth with Myth Wukong on their console anyway. So there's no really point to doing that.
Yeah, they have no reason to
And
pay for that.
exactly. And so it's just like, that's what I'm saying. If a lot of these Xbox fans just sat down and thought about it, like put your fanboyism aside and just think about it logically, what would be the point of this and what would they gain? I think they would come to a reasonable conclusion that them having a backdoor deal makes no fucking sense. And it's just, it's so weird. And it's like, this isn't like I've said, this isn't the first time this has happened. It'd be one thing if this type of situation where the Xbox version of a game was delayed was a newfound issue, right? Like, oh man, this is the first time that's ever happened. Then we can be like, okay, maybe we can give these little conspiracy theories some extra thought, right?
Yeah.
But multiple developers have came out, right? The game of the year last fucking year, Baldur's Gate 3, right? They made a big statement about this whole situation with the Xbox and how it got delayed because of the split screen situation, having to do a whole workaround it. And Phil had to come out and go down to the studio and talk to him personally and be like, it's okay, you can just
They
nix
broke the
the
parity
split
clause.
screen. Yeah, broke the parity clause for this game. I mean, I understand, right? It was a big game. It was the game of the year, right? That's the last thing you want. Last thing you want is one of the biggest games of the year not coming to your platform. Obviously, that's not a good thing. So it makes sense that he went down there and kind of was just like, it's all right. Don't worry about the split screen. Just get it done. So that game and multiple other games from small studios have come out and been like, we have to delay the Xbox version because we just can't get it to work. And it's so funny because every time this happens, the first thing they think that Xbox fans think, before the studio comes out and clarifies why there's a delay, the first thing they think is, oh my god, Sony money had it. That's the first thought that crosses their mind. Oh my god, Sony must have paid. Oh Jesus, another Sony money hat. Which is so funny because when we think about this situation, about not only this game, right, but the Capcom, all these games that showed up at the Nintendo showcase, I didn't hear anybody say anything about Nintendo money hatting, right? Like, all these games are, the only platform they're skipping is Xbox, right? Yep. They're coming to Nintendo, they're coming to PC, they're coming to PlayStation. The only platform they're not coming to is Xbox. But I don't hear anybody saying, oh man, Nintendo had a direct and everything was skipping Xbox. Oh my god, Nintendo money had it. That term only seems to be used when it comes to PlayStation, right? Even
By
though
the way,
Nintendo has, go ahead.
Nintendo actually money hated it. They paid amount of money for Monster Hunter to not be on PlayStation for a period of time, and nobody said a single word. Nobody.
No.
That's my thing. Nintendo pays for exclusives all the time, and nobody seems to ever have a problem with it, right? Nintendo has even more JRPGs that are exclusive than PlayStation does from Square Enix too, and nobody seems to ever have a problem with that. It's only when
Hey! I said it. I said it.
Oh yeah, but we're actual gamers.
You keep it real, unlike them.
Yeah, okay. When I say nobody, I mean I'm referring to Xbox fans. They don't seem to ever have a problem with that situation when it's Nintendo doing it. But like I said, this is not Xbox fans should be used to that announcement. They should be used to the little yellow screen or black screen or whatever on Twitter saying that their version of the game is delayed. At this point, you should know what you signed up for. Okay, like I said, this is like the 4th, 5th, 6th time that this has happened. At this point, you should just accept it. I've seen a lot of Xbox fans say that, right? At this point, because especially after the Nintendo Direct, with all those games that are skipping the Xbox platform, I've seen so many Xbox fans be like, you know what? It is what it is. At this point, they're like, I just gonna have to play it on my PC or my Switch or whatever, because it just seems like a recurring pattern that Xbox isn't going to do anything about. because they keep tagging Phil and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and the people who are in charge of like the backwards compatibility stuff to try to get them to see like, hey, these games are skipping, but they don't ever do anything about it. So at this point, they're just like chalking it up and being like, we're just gonna have to play wherever it is and take that L because that's just what it is. And all those situations that I just discussed, that not just Black Myth Wukong, but all those games that Nintendo Direct, that has nothing to do with Sony. All that has to do, like this, it's multiple things. Like either they don't see enough return by putting those games, because these are smaller games that are older,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't see a return on an investment on making this port and putting it on the Xbox, or it probably would cost more money than they would get back. And then like these like those developers that came out, or that little interview with Skill Up, where he was talking about how he talked to any developers and asked them how they feel about the Xbox and putting the games on Xbox, and they were saying, well, I mean, it really doesn't seem worth it unless we get it on Game Pass, because that's the only place that these people play the games. They're not going to pay for it outright. But yeah, it's just, it is what it is at this point. Like, I mean, again, I don't subscribe to the BS that this is a PlayStation money hat situation, and unless they come out and officially say we have some kind of deal and they start marketing it, sure. But like the developers have come out, they said what it was, they said what it is, they said it's an Xbox quality control issue, and they're gonna get it to them when they can. God knows when it's gonna happen. I feel for you. Y'all said Xbox is PC and PC is Xbox, so y'all better turn on them PCs if y'all want to play this game.
Exactly.
Turn on your PlayStation or whatever, because if this was a game you're looking forward to, you're either gonna have to wait or play it on a different platform. And all you can do is, once again, blame Phil. Y'all were cheering for this Series S and how revolutionary it was going to be and how great it was that they gave you guys a low budget console, a way to get into the next gen without fully investing that $500. Like, it sounds great, but then when you have a completely different SKU, these are the kind of repercussions that follow. And I guarantee you, Xbox ain't gonna make that mistake again.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
it's what it is.
It's funny how all how the how it started versus how it's going. This is very much one of those moments. It started where the Series S was more powerful than a PS5. It was better than a PS5, and
PS5 is going to be competing with the Series S, and the X is going to be like the superior version of both of those.
Everything.
So yeah.
Yeah, they started with all that noise, and they want to know what's really funny. The one thing I've seen that actually makes sense, which again people don't, and people are not paying attention to, the parity clause again showing its ugly head. Because what happens when you develop for an Xbox One today, you must also develop what? A Series S and a Series X version. Well, and
that's why, like, there you go.
But that's what I'm saying. So these other games, all of them have a PS4 version. They don't have a PS5 version. But PlayStation does not care, because the game is releasing on PS5, and they'll get it to run as it should, as is, and they don't care. And there's no clause that says you have to develop a PS5 version.
Yep.
But again, we're going to blame everyone but Xbox.
That's something I didn't even know before this particular situation came out. I didn't know that if you develop an Xbox One version, you also have to make the Series X and S.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, like before, like, because I saw that, like,
wait, you didn't know about the parity clause?
Well, no, specifically
I know about it
that
between
way.
X and S, but I didn't know about it between Xbox One and Series X and Series S, because PlayStation, you can make a PS4 version and that be it. You don't have to make a PS5. Like a lot of Japanese games just make a PS4 version and they don't make a PS5. So I didn't know that was not a thing that you could do on Xbox. That's and that's like you said, that's another thing that kicked them in the butt, because if they didn't have that, they probably would have a lot of these games.
Exactly.
They would probably have like the Xbox One version of a lot of these games, like Marvel and Capcom, stuff like that.
And part of that parody clause is a feature parody. So
Yeah.
that's the whole reason why Baldur's Gate, like it's late, like they couldn't just say, okay, we're gonna remove the I think it was a split screen co-op, right? They couldn't just release a version for the S without that. According to Xbox policy, so they had to make an exception there for them to work around that. Like, and that's kind of, it used to be worse because I think they initially had, like, if you don't release it at the same time on Xbox as you did on PlayStation, you can't put it on Xbox.
Yep, that is also another clause.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Well, that's why I love games skipped Xbox, because they, like, especially indie developers, they don't have the money to make both versions at the same time, so they just release it on one and then see how it does, and then make another version. So for them, it was like an easy choice, like put it on PlayStation, because because otherwise we have to put it on Xbox as well. So we're not going to put it on Xbox because we're not not allowed. I think they probably loosened up on that, because you see some games like Canna coming to Xbox, which didn't come initially to Xbox, but that shows you sort of a desperation on their side, that they realize, like, we're completely we fucked this up because we overestimated our own importance in that regard. Like they thought, okay, they're never going to skip us. It's fuck around and find out.
Fuck around and find out. Exactly. Like I said, they just they thought so many things in the initial time frame, and then that caused, like you said, other companies to just skip them outright. Like you said, some of the companies just couldn't do both at the same time, or they couldn't afford to do all three platforms. And like I said, again, people were forgetting you're having to do an Xbox One, which is multiple versions. That the Xbox One itself has the 1S, and the 1X. Then you have to do the Series S and the X. And most companies are just like, I'm not doing that. And ironically, just to take it back a point even further, which showcases that this is the issue, right? A person pointed out that all those games that were announced are on the MT Framework engine. And guess what else didn't come out that was on the MT Framework engine for Xbox only? And it came out everywhere else. And that was Mega Man Battle Network Collection that I bought day one. And they were crying about that. And again, a big reason for that is because with that parity clause in place, Capcom is like, well, we're not going to spend money to update this old, the old MT Framework engine for it to work and be compatible with the Series S and X. So we're just going to release the games where we want. And Capcom is too big for Microsoft to say, well, since you did that, you can't release Resident Evil or all these other games. So these companies are too big.
They'd be stupid. They'd be stupid as hell to do that. Yeah, they can't. Nah.
Yeah, they can't. They can't threaten them.
Evil to skip your console? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's what happened is they overestimated the weight they thought they had, to demand that a Series S and X. And we talked about this. Again, to a further point to make people understand that this is what's going on, is this clause. There are sometimes, right, and I can't remember the game exactly, but I'm sure I could find it after the show at some point. There are games that come out that are only on PS4 and don't have a PS5 version, but they do have a Series S and X version. That's happened multiple times.
Did that not happen with Yakuza 7?
Well, no, that was something else. That was
later, though. Was the deal in place or something?
That was a deal where Sega missed a clause or something.
Yeah, I know, but still it existed.
That's not what I'm talking about though, because there's a PS5 version of Yakuza 7. I'm talking about where there is no PS5 version. Period.
I've seen that
of the game
on a lot of JRPGs.
Yeah, a lot of JRPGs.
But then a Series X and S.
I think Psychonaut 2 can count as one. unless they release a PS5 update or a new version.
Yeah.
Because I
I mean,
remember
they may
Psychonauts 2
have, but
being missing.
they may have, but yeah, if they didn't, then yeah, that would be one where there's an S and X version and only a PS4 version. But yeah, there's several games that have done it, and like Morgan said, it's typically applied to a lot of JRPGs because again, they are forced if you are going to release it on the Xbox to do it that way. So again, all these clauses and all these demands
It's like I can
biting them
see
in
the
the
benefit
ass.
of it, like you getting the latest version, but then
Mm-hmm.
if, like you said, if they don't have the funds to do that, they could just skip your platform altogether. So it's like, do you really want to take that risk of saying you have to do a next gen version or whatever for our
Exactly.
platform? That's just, yeah, that's a risk I wouldn't take. Like at the end of the day, I I feel sorry for Xbox players. Like I couldn't be an Xbox only gamer,
Oh, absolutely not.
especially this generation. There's just too
Mm-mm.
many games that are skipping that platform, and I would be all over Phil. Like I'd be so upset. Like nah, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah,
Like
it's. I don't know.
my
It's like
current, if I could have played my current game of the year, Stellar Blade.
exactly.
Sony had came through, swooped in, published it, took it up. Be like, yo, what? Yo, I'm looking forward to that. What the fuck, man? All right,
Mm-hmm.
like,
And again, like to that end or to that point, right? People talk about just money hatting and stuff like that, or trying to be funny, and it's like, yet we have examples on record, specifically from multiple developers, but specifically from, um, the Stellar Blade dev saying
yeah, ship
like
up.
the game that you guys got to play is because PlayStation came in and did so much for us and worked with us, and that created a much bigger game that was originally a small project, so we wouldn't
Yeah,
even
they
we
said they're
wouldn't
gonna
have
cut
even
back a
gotten
lot
that. Yeah,
if PlayStation hadn't been there.
exactly, so we
And I was
wouldn't have
like,
even
nah, it's
got the
perfect.
Stellar Blade we got. Yeah, and we both love that game. So it's
Yeah,
like,
don't say
yeah, like,
nothing.
yeah, so I was like, they could keep talking all they want, PlayStation working in partnership
Speaking of cuts,
is amazing.
yes, and PlayStation partnerships. The news that they were going to have 200 more, or just 200 total cats to find in Rise of the Ronin. All these. There are so many cat. Nobody's played Rise of the Ronin, right? One of the kind of little collectibles is petting cats, and there's a lot of cats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know Nate. Um, but yeah, PlayStation apparently told them that they need to cut the number of cats because apparently they had double what they have in the game, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna need you to cut that down." See, PlayStation helps with quality control with these games because if you try to get the plat, you gotta pet all the cats. So it's just that would have been a annoyance trying to find all those. So yeah, PlayStation does really well when they partner with stuff. They give good feedback and help add or remove stuff that they deem is little over the top when it comes to the game. So yeah, they definitely have a positive impact on the games that they partner with.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's what we want as gamers at the end of the day. If a company is out here partnering and creating better quality games, I'm all for it. Like I said, like I hope that the people that Xbox partners with, that is happening. But like I said, like how can I have that confidence in you when your first party who's directly under you isn't benefiting to that same degree?
Man, Atlas about to come out and be like, bro, Xbox helped us so much, man. It would have been an entirely different game.
Yeah,
Metaphor would have been entirely different if Xbox hadn't showed up.
I think we know the real reason
I'm
they
very
partnered with them is because Atlas is in their bag and they don't need no help.
I'm still very interested to see the split when it comes to Metaphor, if they're gonna make a split announcement like, we sold yada yada yada. It'd be funny if that was in Xbox's contract that they
You
couldn't
know
reveal
they're
that
not
type of
gonna
stuff.
name. They don't.
Well,
I
if we're
think
lucky though, what'll happen
they
is
don't.
when
I think
is well, no, they won't specifically give it out. But what sometimes happens is the numbers come out in the actual fiscal meetings, and you end up getting the numbers there sometimes. So sometimes it's a
Yeah.
chart in the background, and whatever. It always comes out because that's what happened with Call of Duty when we found out. Well, not Call of Duty, but Activision entirely where we found out that Xbox counted for so little that they weren't even put on the slide for percentages because they were under 6%. So, yeah, like you said, I'm interested to see. We're getting to the point where the freebies, and the Game Pass day ones are stopping from Sega. So, it'll be interesting to see the sales split, like you said, for Metaphor and all that.
For Sega, the partnership was worth it, and I hope that it turns out to be some positive sales growth from the Xbox side for them.
Agreed. Oh, censoring cats now. Warren's silly, man. He said, somebody censoring cats now? Nah, that whole thing was funny to find out, like, the quality changes that they made during development because PlayStation provided testers, and that was a lot of the feedback, or that was, one of them.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to cut down on these cats a little bit, bro.
Oh, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say PlayStation Money had Black Wukong, okay? Where is the advertisement? Where is that information? Is PlayStation not obligated to share that information to their shareholders, to the world?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I said if
We talked
PlayStation,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, I said if PlayStation partnered, we would hear it from the mountaintops because they always.
Yeah, I know, but my
discuss it
question
about
is,
it.
is that not something legally, whatchamacallit, a must? That's my question.
I mean, not necessarily,
Like,
but you're not going to pay for something and get no benefit out of it, is what
yeah,
we're saying.
precisely.
That's not how business works. So, and it's very clear how PlayStation does things when they partner with someone. So, like, honestly,
They don't have shit.
Yeah, PlayStation never shied away from letting people know we got it. We're timing this shit.
yeah, I mean, so that's why we know it's a shot in the dark. It's looking to blame someone again, once again, for lack of accountability on Xbox's side, once again, to try and find a reason, other than the direct statement given, by the developer. Like, again, Xbox guys always going after the devs when they told you, they're like, well, could you guys just tell it to us straight?
They've turned on Bethesda devs now. Like
They don't.
they're
No,
all
I
first
think
party devs. They turned it on them. Like it's wild in these streets. Like they're thinking every single developer out here who's not getting 120 on the Series S is a bad developer, and they don't know what they're doing. Apparently.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happened is Xbox knew what this comment was going to do, and they basically threw the devs they basically
Threw them under the bus.
threw the devs to the walls. Like,
I don't think this wasn't even a throw at the devs. This was a throw at PlayStation. They were just like, I mean, we can't really discuss the business deals that the exclusivity deals.
No, because now people
our
are saying
partners take.
now people are saying I'm not gonna play that game because they genuinely believe that
the people who are not gonna play that game, we're never gonna play that game anyway. Like,
Yeah, they
don't
ain't
believe
losing nothing.
these people. And people say that all the time. Like, well, I'm not gonna play. Motherfucker, you weren't gonna play the game anyway because the game wasn't coming to Game Pass, and most of you motherfuckers would have been like, well, it looks cool, it looks good, it looks like something I would play, but I'll just wait till it comes to Game Pass.
Exactly.
Yeah, most of them anyway. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you want to play a game, you don't care about the platform. Like I said, like most of the like a lot of the games I saw at the Xbox showcase I want to play are exclusive to Xbox and PC. I'm not gonna bitch and be like, well, Phil said, he's gonna eventually bring the game to PlayStation, so I'm just gonna wait. No, I want to play it when I see it. I see it. It looks like a good game. I'm gonna play it. I don't give a shit about it not coming to PlayStation day one, or if it's gonna come to PlayStation later on down the line. If it does, cool. I might pick it up.
It's almost as if you love gaming. Almost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I want to play a game, you don't give a fuck if it's not coming to your preferred platform day one. You're just gonna, and like even if you still want to play it on your preferred platform, like a situation with Wukong, you would be like, okay, cool. I mean, I'll just wait until, they say it's going to come eventually, so I'll just wait. Like, people who are claiming that they're not going to play it now are people who were never going to play it in the first place. So I wouldn't even take that into account. Like, people out here love giving hollow threats and being like, well, you just lost my money. And I'm like, they never had your money. So it's not that wasn't, you have to actually have something substantial to threaten somebody with. Like, they never had your money in the first place. So they're not going to care that you took away this imaginary $70 that you were going to give them. Like,
Exactly.
it is like, the people who want to play it are going to play it, and a lot of these dudes who are bitching also own PCs and PS5s.
And PS5.
So at the end of the day, they'll play it on one of those systems.
Oh, they
if
made
they
sure
if they actually want
they
to play
made
it.
sure they showed us they had PCs with hard drives in them for sure because they all conveniently tested Ratchet and Clank when it released
All
on
right,
PC,
like,
to show us how badly it ran on a hard drive. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, they should all be
man,
perfectly excited for this
yeah,
game
they had to
still.
take that L though. When Digital Foundry showed everybody how it would have ran on a PS4, and that shit was like stuttering like a broken record.
Mm-hmm. Because
Bro,
it was a
that shit,
fact.
Ratchet was just freezing in the air, just stuck.
Yeah, 5400 RPM hard
Oh, man, this
drives
could have
are a
ran on
joke.
PS4. Oh, really? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
knew they couldn't refute that, but yeah, like you said, I think we sewed it up pretty nicely here. Um, we did you have anything you wanted to add, or I'm pretty much all in agreement with what Morgan and you guys have said so far. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she said what I wanted to say. Like, I know Microsoft knew what they were doing when they made that statement.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
it's typical of
Again,
them.
I
Like,
keep. Go ahead.
it's plausible deniability. Like they're basically, they knew that there wasn't a deal, but they're the way they worded it, they knew people would run with it, and when people call them out, and eventually like, hey, there is no deal. What's up? Yeah, we never said
exactly.
there wasn't a deal. We just said we
Mhm.
didn't know.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's like you being with your sibling. And your mom comes home and goes, "Who ate the cookies?" And you go, "Well, I didn't eat them." Well, okay, it's only two of y'all in the house, so
Well, it was me.
yeah,
Like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, they worded that shit so perfectly. Just like they didn't directly say it. They were like, we can't speak really on, deals going on with partners. But yeah, that's all we got to say about that. All
Uh,
right, bro.
it totally makes no sense at all, because if you're reading it, like, you're working with the devs and you can't comment on any deals they've made with other parties. Like, that doesn't make any sense, because if there's a
Mhm.
deal in place, there is no working with the devs. You just have to respect the terms of that contract and wait until that runs
Oh,
out.
that's such a good one, dude. I didn't even think about that.
We hitting them with the facts. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
what y'all working on?
Yeah.
nah, you're
What
right.
are you working on?
Uh,
If there's like a 6 month,
That
3 month, 6 month,
genuinely,
or a year exclusivity deal, there's nothing to work on. You can't work on nothing. Like,
exactly.
that
Yeah.
that genuinely a fucking checkmate, dude. Like
We know
how?
that's why it's laughable that they're trying to come up with all these false scenarios that don't exist to try and make themselves feel better about the situation when in reality it literally just comes back to Xbox and their initial mistakes with the Series S, which we said would come back to bite them in the ass, and they
Yep.
frequently told us, well, you guys don't know
And
what you're talking about, and the PS5 wish it was this
you guys
powerful.
are devs. You guys are
this is
engineers. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Okay.
Right.
yeah, yeah. This is why you don't do console war,
Oh, we know, but they don't.
because console war genuinely give you brain rot. I refuse to believe these people are gamers. Like, I don't know.
Well, we also have seen from the wrap up frequently at the end of the year that a lot of these people don't game very much. So
They don't
yeah,
game very much. Yeah.
yeah,
At least like it's usually the ones tweeting and talking the most that got this, the saddest looking wrap up by the end of the year. I'm like,
exactly.
if you spent all that time you were doing tweeting and, being on all these podcasts and talking about nothing, if you took all that time and actually invested in playing the games, your wrap up will probably look more impressive.
Exactly.
Like I'm not
They
saying
have
you gotta have
time
20,000 hours, but damn, why do you only got like 100 hours on that thing?
they have
What have you
time
been
to talk
doing?
about gaming, but don't have time to actually put in the work when it comes to gaming.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Which is
I'll be
ironic because
defensible
what are
if
you
you don't
talking
play.
about if you don't have, you haven't been playing anything. So I'm curious, what some of these conversations are about. Which, I mean, obviously we know is just usually making up stuff. But I'll tell you one thing people can say about our podcast, because we've completed plenty of these games that we've heard so much about. Morgan has completed Pentiment. I have completed Starfield twice. So I have also about probably over 800 cars and over 34 hours in first place on Forza Horizon 5. So yeah, they can call us
Yeah,
PlayStation all they want, but we play games out here at the end of the day.
we got
I
all the
never shied
Wolfenstein trophies.
away.
Mm-hmm.
It's real fans of Bethesda in here. Like you got the
Exactly.
fake ones that all of a sudden became fans of the publisher after they were purchased.
I
Facts.
never shied away from what you call it. Uh, showing my end of the year game.
Why should you?
But yeah, I mean, if you're playing the games that you claim to be playing, there's nothing to be shy about. You can show like, hey, there it is.
Exactly. Yeah, which is a whole nother thing. But again, you know, we discussed it. We came, we saw, we spoke on it. We let people know the facts, what we've been playing. Again, it was a great show. Uh, Glad to have everybody here. We're missing some people. Shout out to Kay who couldn't make it. She's asleep right now. So Otter Nation for her.
After
And
donation it is.
yeah, Nelson in the
Nation.
chat. What's up? He also couldn't make it. He
Hey,
had to work, but he's in the chat. So what's up? But yeah, we're gonna end it there so I can make this cookout and go see my baby niece and enjoy the rest of this Saturday, the way I've already been enjoying it. But yeah, Morgan, we'll start it off with you. Let the people know where they can find you.
yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter at Chill Bandit. Thanks guys for coming up with us. Sorry we were a little late. You had a little bit of technical difficulties, but appreciate you guys showing up anyway. Yeah, great non E3. Walked away with way too many games to play, and unfortunately, not enough time in the world to complete them all. But we're
Ain't
gonna
that the
figure it
truth?
out. We're gonna figure it out one way or another because that's what gamers do. So yeah, Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
But
still
what
stuff.
problem is figuring out when to play games because there are too many of them.
Too
Yeah,
many.
somebody got to invent that hyperbolic time chamber eventually, one day. It's too many DBZ fans out here not to
I
have
told
one.
myself that these days.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
But yeah, Weave, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
Yes, a great show as always. Thanks to the panel and the chat. You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. And yeah, I totally agree with the sentiment that too many great games to play, too little time. But first world problem, so we'll
Yep.
manage. Uh,
Thanks.
Yeah,
yeah,
if that's the only problem we
automation.
got, I'll take it. Otter
Otter
Nation.
Nation.
Yeah, exactly.
And last but not least, Karaba, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
So shout out to everyone that came through. Great show, great conversation. Yeah, again, Morgan said it. Sorry about the technical difficulty. Hopefully by the end of next week we have the shit ironed out. You can find me at Caravan Shop on Twitter and Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. into time. As always, play your game and finish them.
Indeed.
Preach.
Uh, and of course, like I am your host, Innate, also known as the Real Innate on Twitter. And for any questions about how to spell any of those, you can find them now on screen at the bottom. underneath the video footage playing if you want to find anyone either live or after the show. But again, like I said, play your games. Lots of great games to be had. Lots of great games coming. If you got nothing to play, you're probably not a gamer in the first place. And I'm not sure why you're listening to this podcast, but welcome anyway. But
Damn.
but
That's a
otherwise,
shot
yeah.
fired, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah, with a Uzi and then a rocket launcher on top of it. Absolutely. I meant it and
too
I
many
said
people
it.
complaining
You're
about
not
a
being
dry
nice, are you?
2024. I'm
Mhm.
like,
You're not
where?
being nice.
No.
Damn.
No, they're not being nice, so we're not being nice. If you ain't got nothing to play,
Okay, touche.
yeah, if you ain't got nothing to play right now, you're not a gamer. Let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's about celebrating games ultimately, like I said. So hopefully y'all got some great games to play. Thank you for everybody for rocking out with us in the chat. And otherwise, this has been episode 21 of the Otter Players Podcast. Otter Nation.
Peace,
Otter
Otter
Nation.
Nation.